So a very diplomatic reaction from the Ukrainian president, Ollie, to these proposals that look challenging, to say the least, for Ukraine.
Yeah, I think challenging would be a sort of modest way of proposing and suggesting what we've seen from the U.S. administration and what they've brokered with the Russians. And we should say, though, that this is sort of Zelenskyy's approach ever since that catastrophic meeting in the Oval Office back in February when Trump says jump, Zelensky says basically how high. He has learned from that meeting in the most difficult possible way that you never want to be perceived to be the impediment to peace or the impediment to an American plan, even if that plan includes the following, which is what we understand from the early stages of what we've seen from this plan, which would be ceding all of the Donbass region to the Russians by the Ukrainians. So these are even parts of the Donbass region that the Russians have failed to take control of over 4 years of bitter warfare. That would go to the Russians. There would be also some very sort of strict and very difficult requirements post-war, potentially about whether there could be international peacekeeping forces within Ukraine from other countries. Basically, that would be forbidden. There would be also a reduction in the size of the Ukrainian military, basically, according to some reports, having the size of the Ukrainian military. There would also be ultimately down the line sanction relief for the Russians. And again, the question is going to be, and has been since the beginning of seeing this sort of plan, is what are the Russians willing to give in exchange for that? From what we understand so far, from what we've seen from the plan, basically to cease the aggressions within Ukraine. And again, this sort of promise to not reinvade in the future and not reinvade the European continent more broadly. This is very difficult for the Europeans and for the Ukrainians to accept. That being said, the approach has been, okay, President Trump, we are willing to engage with this plan. We're going to have this conversation. We expect Zelensky to get into the room with President Trump in the future, in the next couple of days, to talk about this. But again, we should say these are the sort of very opening indications of what is still a very early draft. So this may evolve into the future. That being said, as a starting position for these negotiations, this is not something that brings any warmth or relief to the Ukrainians or the Europeans.